and then do something about it. And it worked.
This idea of rock bottom, it's so interesting, and it sounds pretty tragic that sometimes people do need to go to the bottom on their own
Yeah.
to realize that, as the quote says, the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of making a change.
No, I never heard that. That's
I had it when
actually
I
a
was
great quote.
18 years old, and I was just dropped out of university, and I saw someone on YouTube say the pain of change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of making a change. And this kind of
Interesting.
speaks to why some people sometimes, when you listen to their stories, it wasn't until they hit the basement that they were able to look themselves in the mirror and then take actions in the right direction. But also sometimes when you try and help someone and you prop them up, like if your mother had gone, listen, here's some money, and here's some, you don't have to pay rent.
Right.
She would be propping you up a little bit and keeping you
Enabling me.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about the kid that's listening to this right now that can relate,
Yeah.
or the person in their life, they might be in a job or whatever, that can relate to knowing that there's something not quite right in their life.
Yeah.
Maybe they're at a point where they can start to look themselves in the mirror and take responsibility. But do they have to go to rock bottom to start to change their life?
Well, I think that part of the reason, or I should say, this is more of a general statement that kind of answers this. I, in a way, was fortunate because when I hit rock bottom, I am a person that does not have, what is it called, paralysis by analysis. I'm sort of an impulsive person,
Mhm.
for better or worse. And so for me, it's like once I hit that rock bottom, it wasn't hard for me to sort of quickly find a good North Star, which the first one was college. I'm gonna do college, right?
Mhm.
And then when I was nearing the end of college, by this point I've sort of righted the ship at this point, but I wanted a new goal. It was like, oh, SEAL training, that checks some boxes. It's like, I want to serve, check. Like, it's a super hard goal, check. I'll have to work for it. Like, it offers me a chance at reinvention and rebirth, check. Okay, good. Like, I jump to that. That's what I do. I think there are plenty of people, and this is my guess, I don't know if it's true, who maybe have already hit rock bottom and they want to make a change. They know it's their fault or whatever situation that they know they've contributed to it,
Mhm.
but they don't know what to do next. And there's so many choices. Think about it. If you're at rock bottom, in some ways, you have every choice in the world to make. And I think that one of the things that I certainly preach when I talk about this at all, which I guess is in situations like this, is you don't need like a perfect idea. You just need something that checks enough boxes for you to be worth doing. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm in my mom's basement. I've done this to myself. I am the reason I'm not at school. I'm the reason that like my parents are embarrassed about their son. It's my fault. What do I need to do? Okay, well, I should graduate school because that demonstrates that what happened at UMass is fixable. I can graduate school. I can do it. I'm not dumb. I can do that. Okay, fine. Got to go to school. That was it. It's like, it checks a box, so do it.
I think it was Jocko Willink that said to me, his friend had called him and was going through a difficult time in his life, divorce, lost his wife, lost his job, etc. And Jocko said something, words to the effect of, when you're lost in like a military context or whatever, you need to start moving. It doesn't
Yes.
necessarily matter which direction you move in, but you need to start moving in a direction. And I was thinking about that, as you said, about this idea of like paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
People, they might be at rock bottom, but they just don't know what to do. So they're just sat in the same situation. Certainty in that context is sometimes better for people than the uncertainty of what happens if I, you
What
know,
if this is the wrong decision or
yeah,
something?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and also you got to figure it's sort of like a self-perpetuating problem too, where if you, let's say you've hit rock bottom, even if you don't know it, and you're like, oh, I want to fix my life. I want to do something with my life. Let's say the kind of
Mhm.
generic rock bottom. Well, let's say you get paralysis by analysis and you're not able to sort of like pick a path and you go nowhere. That only reinforces the idea that you screwed up again.
Mhm.
But you haven't. There's just too many choices, and you're allowing too many factors to be at play here. Jocko, however he said it, is dead on. And there's another way that's talked about in the military, which is an 80% solution now is oftentimes better than a 100% solution tomorrow. And it's all about like speed over certainty. In the military, it applies a lot of times. But that's the way I think people should generally, not always, but generally look at their lives if they haven't quite built anything yet, whether they're at rock bottom or just starting out, like they're young people and or whatever age you're at. If you feel like you need to make a change, like you said, the pain of staying the same is greater than making a change. If you're at that point, you kind of know it. Think about what matters to you, whatever it is. Like I like to equate it to when like you're in the shower by yourself and you're just having unfiltered true thoughts. Like ask yourself, what do you really care about? Like honest to God. Like forget what society says you should care about. Let's say you really just want to be famous, and that's the actual core, and you don't even know why, but that's what you want. Well, guess what? Listen to that part of you. It's not vain. It's a thing that matters to you. Similarly, if you're like, I want to be just rich, great. If that's a real motivation for you, like at your core, in the shower, it's just you. If that's really what drives you, great. Those are boxes that must be checked for something to be worth doing.
Mhm.
So it's like, have your shower thoughts and be real with yourself. Like, what do you really actually care about? Not what society says, not what you want your family, none of that stuff. For me, honestly, the reason the SEAL thing really paid, I wanted to do it ultimately, is I wanted people to say, that's John Allen, the Navy SEAL. Because to me, it was like I had been the black sheep in my family because of me. I had discovered this. But it's like, oh, his sisters have done this. Oh, his dad's done this. His mom's done this. And then there's John. I wanted something that sort of overrode the mediocrity and failure. And I felt like, what better thing? What more honorable thing? And also, I wanted to serve. That's another check. It's a big goal. That's difficult. That's a check. But ultimately, it was like, I want people to know that I became a Navy SEAL. That mattered to me. And you know what? It flies in the face of what Navy SEAL instructors tell you, which is you shouldn't do this because you want to be a Navy SEAL. You should do it because you want to serve the country. And like, that's true. And what else are you going to tell your students?
Yeah.
But if you really want to be real about it, you got to find your real motivation, and that box must be checked.